Oh my God. Why is the X-Mansion always get messed up every time? I agree with you, sir. Take everything down. Take everything down. Everybody got to suffer now. Everybody. These are rated E for everybody. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to X-Men 97. We're now on to episode 8, which is called Tolerance is Extinction, Part 1. So there's more. I heard that there's going to be a 3-part finale here, so I think it's just going to be complete chaos from here on out, and I'm actually very much looking forward to it because this season has been giving. It's been delivering. I'm loving it. So anyways, last episode, we had Rogue dealing with her grief over the loss of Gambit, and she was taking that out on pretty much anyone that she could. Just kidding, not everybody. It was targeted rage. She basically wanted to get her hands on, what was his name? The person who was working with Bolivar, his name just slipped right out of my head. She was just wanting to get revenge and make sure that people who are capable of creating so much destruction were taken out of the picture. But we see that she was stopped short because when she went into the mind of that one person, she got a flash of something that was deep, planted deep inside of his psyche. The same thing that Jean got, well, not Jean, but Madeline got a flash of earlier in the season. Some of you guys said that it was, what was the name? Oh goodness. I can't give you the name, but you guys in the comments did tell me who it was that she got a flash of, and that this is a very big villain in the Marvel verse. There's so many of them. But anyways, but she passed out after that, and thankfully the team caught up with her at that point and kind of stopped her and allowed her to just take a minute and sit in her pain and sit in her hurt so that she could kind of get rid of some of that edge or the anger. And then they headed over to Madripoor to find Bolivar Trask, who was basically stating that what was going on, what happened in Genosha was not his doing, that Sinister was behind it, and that he was taking his DNA and using it for things that he had no idea what exactly. And to make a long story short, he didn't want to live anymore. Rogue kind of stopped him, or tried to stop him for a second, to basically be like, hey, you can help out. But he basically said, I've got nothing for you. And Rogue said, sure, okay, me neither, and let him drop, which was a moment that, their strict hero code states that you never take a life unless it's a situation where it's an accident or it's literally a life or death situation. But yeah, so she kind of crossed into the anti-hero, I guess you could say, or possible villain origin story, leaning more to where Magneto has been talking about kind of side when she did that. But she didn't have time to even register that before we saw that Bolivar Trask is now Trask Prime. He is a new Sentinel, a type of bio-Sentinel that apparently Sinister and his benefactor have been working on. And that's what they discovered as X-Men, that there was in fact a benefactor that's working with Sinister that's far ahead of him. And that was thanks to Cable, who came and saved everyone's bacon because Bolivar Prime was taking them all out, mopping the floor with them. So yeah, that was basically where we ended the episode, with Cable saying that we got to kind of get things on track here because the future's not looking so good if you cannot figure this out. And then we see that Magneto is still alive. I mean, I had a guess that he was anyways, but we got confirmation, and that this new villain who is oddly attracted to the song Purple People Eater has been keeping him collared and hidden someplace. And we're not sure exactly what his plans are for him yet, but we do know that he's got Magneto at the moment. So yeah, a lot of stuff went down last episode, but we have not had the return of Storm yet. I'm assuming she's on her way back. So ready to jump in. Just before I do though, a reminder that if you'd like to be notified of when I do uploads and be just in the know of all the other stuff that I'm doing here on the channel, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And please do keep showing that love and all those comments. I'm loving it, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. SpongeBob SquarePants. Y'all, I have that Afrobeat SpongeBob SquarePants song stuck in my head and it will not go away. And I've never watched an episode, so my God. It's that time, guys. Warm up them shoulders. Get the neck ready. Get your hips into it if you want to. Let's go. Hey. Hey. Oh, Scott fighting the Sentinels is new, and Storm back! Not in the credits, but back. In her OG outfit. I'm out, no, not in the new one, but anyway. Okay.
Have you two had a chance to speak?
Apparently, his mutant power includes vanishing from any room I enter.
Aww.
I sent Nathan away to give him the best possible future, and it was so horrible he's come back to stop it.
Think of it another way.
Right?
Your
How
son
could you have
came
known
back
Yeah.
Because he needs his father.
Maybe.
The Prime Sentinels are created using the same techno-organic virus Sinister infected me with as a baby.
His Prime Sentinels would be living weapons capable of reproducing, literally giving birth to a new apex species designed to replace mutants like humans did Neanderthals.
And then how long before they're a problem, right?
Bastion's evolutionary war lasted 300 years.
Damn.
So another dystopia where Logan's the last to die.
Bastion saved humanity by upgrading them.
Oh.
Any mutant who survived was put to work.
Why the heck didn't you stop Genosha?
Take a
Whoa.
seat, Logan.
How was he gonna do that?
Daddy's own.
Jealous.
Each time we attempt to stop the attack on Genosha, we are temporally pulled away from the event.
So it has to happen.
The mystics of Kamartaj speak of absolute points.
It was you. You're why Madeline was happy when she died. She saw you.
How many times?
Yeah, that's the question.
He's some type of backup android that Master Mold uploaded into after you took him down.
We need to do reconnaissance. Figure out exactly what we're facing.
Do we have time?
We need to make sure he doesn't do the same to anyone else.
A couple centuries late and the overprotective dad.
Oh, stop.
Stop it.
Thank you. Put it away, boys. Seriously. It's like two of you, the exact same. Uh-oh. Hi, guys. I'm still alive. I think some of you knew that, but if not, getting married. You're not invited.
By the UN, who now fear the X-Men faked their mentor's death to garner support for mutants.
Huh?
Henry Gyrick was found murdered in Mexico City today.
Whoa, okay, those are expensive.
It's starting.
Bastion's been playing us from the get-go. It's time to turn the tables and end his twisted
But
plans
how?
for the future.
I agree, but how?
To suffer all
That's a big-ass egg.
I'm hosting a fundraiser here for Genosha. Somebody needs to help those poor souls.
Okay, what are the optics?
We were trying to keep you people from coming after the
Ooh,
professor
you people.
You people?
again. This party sounds super lame anyway. Come on, Roberto. I think we both could use some retail therapy.
Oh, okay. I underestimated him. I thought he'd stay with Mama. She might cut him off, though.
Madeline preferred her first name too.
Yeah, we're the same person, I know.
And then I remember holding him for the first time. Knowing, human or mutant, he's perfect. But it's all a lie.
It's not a lie. It's just not your memories.
If you heard his first cries, if you remember how it felt to hear them.
Exactly. In the end, this is exactly what happens with adoptive parents.
I was abandoned by my mother Mystique as an infant. Despite our shared blood, I was too blue for her.
Yeah, right. And see, blood does not equal love.
Blood is blood.
It's true.
Family is a choice.
Period. Exactly. Like I said, adoptive parents do it all the time. Like, they don't have to give birth or have shared blood with someone to love them like it's their own.
Make it fast, McCoy. The villagers got their hands on pitchforks and torches.
I don't like you handing out orders like you're part of the team here, Nathan. Sinister, have you really assessed this outfit you're wearing? Because I don't know. I feel like it's a bit hard to take you seriously.
Ink pens brimming with mutant test subjects. That's my dream.
Beautiful. An X. How fitting.
Bastion says you haven't spoken a word since Genosha.
Is there anything to say? Exactly. He's been through so much you can't even begin to understand.
I didn't know. I swear.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. For everything.
Bye.
Forgive me. Curse me. Just please talk to me.
Do I know you enough to say anything to you? Thank you for not saying anything. She doesn't deserve it.
Didn't recognize you without your camera and
Ooh,
microphone.
you better let her know.
Now a cyborg variant of the very machines he invented.
How many like him are out there?
Great question.
This address doesn't look like any Sentinel
It's
facility.
underground. It always is. So you're the evil people responsible for this. I blame his parents.
My son said you'd come get me tomorrow. You there, the big one. Help an old woman up.
Don't. I wouldn't trust that woman at all. Anything that gave birth to that monster?
Make yourselves at home while I pack.
No. What has he done to her?
Guess we play along.
I don't trust her at all.
I see a child who could hear things. Not thoughts. Machines. And the boy's father, a school janitor, being infected by something from the future. Sentinel technology.
Didn't I tell you it was the parents' fault?
Parts past, present, and future.
Sebastian? You are normal. You're my son.
He's not normal.
He's descended of every Sentinel from Master Mold to Nimrod. Mutated, evolved, born.
Great.
But I also said bully an underdog too long and people start feeling sorry for them. Like when our village idiot, Guy Rick, made a martyr of Xavier and...
Sister, who are you? Why are you doing this? Sister, why are you doing this?
Because when your skin's not in the game, apathy's your answer.
Do not mistake Doom's collusion as indifference to flagrant war crimes.
Dr. Doom's in this?
Illiterate lore aside, Genosha's not genocide. It's time management.
Okay.
In 100 years, mutants outnumber humans 10 to 1. And generations later, human extinction.
You don't know that for sure. Or maybe he does. I'm not sure where he's from.
We need something deadly but discreet.
Not Dirk over there.
What's a taxi driver supposed to do when a teleporter gets you there in a blink? The human community is scared. They've been told over and over that the future is leaving them behind.
By who? Exactly. Yeah,
Do
okay.
these people even know what you're doing to them?
Oh, I admit the more technical details, but they know they're joining something far greater than themselves.
Not weaponizing civilians.
You sound like a dinosaur fretting the fate of an asteroid before impact.
I'm more concerned you're the asteroid,
It's a
Bastion.
little too late for that now, sis. So, get into the hot tub next to him, okay? Hand in hand with genocide. That's you.
Painted it when he was 16. The final dream, he called it.
Yep. I told y'all you should have taken her out the second you walked in. Talking about grandma.
It imitates life.
Ford, a little privacy.
Surrender, mutants.
Oh, damn. They're already infiltrating.
Scan for cyborg brain.
That sucks.
Would they know they're Sentinels?
Trask didn't. Not at first.
There's one right there. Not the babies. Okay.
Oh, my stars and garters.
Not stars and garters. Sir, look right beside you. This is where crushes get you into trouble. Damn beast.
Surrender, mutants.
I gotta talk to Hank about his taste.
Thank you. I was about to say, you were in the right track initially, Hank, when you were like icing her out. But anyway.
Cable, any of those nifty grenades of yours?
Of course not.
Yeah, might need a few more.
Oh, great. You guys didn't learn from your last battle that he literally built these to fight you specifically, right? Oh, I love that you keep trying them more. I really do. Oh my god, why does the X-Mansion always get messed up every time? Roberto, I'm gonna need you to just, go supernova right about now. That'd be great. Oh yeah, they can't. That's right. They don't know about his powers. We need you, bro. Homie didn't know about your powers. He knows about all the X-Men, though.
Fancy a trip to the junkyard, Tin Woman?
Tin Woman? Seriously, Logan, you're killing me. Cut her head off! What are you doing? Alright, well, you'll recover. Thank you, finally! Ow, 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 ow. Yep, that's gonna take a minute to heal from. Oh yeah, you're taking a nap. That is creepy right there. I'm so... Whoa, that is creepy.
Why resist the inevitable?
Lady, I got 6 reasons.
Period.
No, mein Freund. Nein.
Hey, with the tail. Yeah, kind of hard to account for Nightcrawler's power. You gotta incapacitate him. It's the only answer. Not them putting their parts back together. You're gonna have to, like, shred them better. I don't know what to tell you.
You must get them away from Rogue.
Or get Rogue away from there is probably the better answer. Wait, what's this? What's going on? What is that? Oh, he was with... Okay, he was being pulled too. Yeah, breathe, bro. You're gonna need a second. Oh, shit. Take Rogue and go!
Everyone could fly but me!
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Try putting your... Can you not propel?
You too?
I know.
I mean, sometimes you're just special.
In the danger room.
Okay, good job. Because I was like, why are you not burning her up? Because that's... I'm glad he's not. But I'm like, you didn't seem like you were in control before.
Come on, use a seatbelt.
Sorry. She's your mom, too. Deal with it. Yeah. I thought they were going to take the plane down. That's kind of the smartest move.
Nathan, get in the back.
Quit bossing me around.
Kill you.
Shut it and take it. How? Wait, where's the ground? All right, listen, that's pretty badass. You gotta like daddy a little for that one. Come on.
You have a Porsche.
Why not?
They're boxing us in.
Clearly.
Can't stop me anything when you can't go back.
Go through, baby.
Let's show these toasters why you don't screw with the Summers.
Scissors. The Summers, this. Okay, look at this teamwork, trademark, baby! Oh God, where are we going? Where are we flying? Okay, thank God for mom. You'd think they'd work together their whole lives. Well done. By the way, hey mom, I'm a mutant.
These killer robots are trying to kill me.
We do not kill mutants. We save them.
Oh, wow.
Meu filho, do what the men say.
Run immediately. But look at Trask, or not Trask, what's his name? Putting in the failsafe to make sure the human optics are in place. Oh, does that make you feel strong now, bro? All those mutations and you still have a small penis. That's gotta suck.
That human wretch let Magneto out. She's lost her mind.
Well, she did one thing right.
Too little, too late.
What's this now? Do I want to know? Who is the black cis sidekick who keeps walking around with this psychopath? Man, we need to talk.
You just had to let the dog out.
Woo, 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 woo.
You're a monster.
Period. Proving her point. Thank you.
In Genosha, I felt a lot of things. But you know what the oddest thing was? No one seemed shocked or surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Not even me.
Yep.
Really, I just had the most profound sense of deja vu.
Yep.
Because we always end up in the same ugly place.
Period.
Magneto knows us better than Charles ever did.
He did. He was right.
It was a thought. The only sane thought you can have when being chased by giant robots that were built to crush you.
What are you up to? What are you up to, Magneto?
Magneto was right.
Enough.
Yup. Start screwing things up, Magneto. You tried. You tried. You tried. Charles can't say he didn't try. Oh, Spider-Man, how you doing, bro? Who this? I agree with you, sir. Take everything down. Take everything down. Everybody got to suffer now. Everybody. These are rainy day for everybody. Oh my God, who was in that tank? And I have a feeling it's a bad idea. Did you forget that, yeah, all of your robots need electricity? Bum ass. Don't stop, Magneto. Go until you literally pass out. I was wondering why he wanted Magneto, but you think he would just take him out, knowing he could do that?
Our hides? No. Declared war.
No, the humans did that when they sided with him.
When you need him.
Oh, ask and you shall receive? God damn. If that was him, they were like, back to your Milky Way ghetto, bitch. Jeez. Could you at least have given him a nav system? up,
I
Charles?
hope that I'm not too late.
Sir, I don't know what to tell you about that one.
To me, my X-Men.
Respectfully, I'd be like, we're not home. We're mad at you, Dad. Oh my gosh, why are you ending here? It's just starting to get juicy. Is there more? So much credits. Every single time I keep thinking there's gotta be something else. Oh wow, that was a lot. Guys, damn, the gauntlet has been dropped. This show knows how to drop a lot on you. And just like, you know, it's half an hour and it feels like half an hour. Not even actually, it's like 20 minutes, but they put so much in there. Like you want more, but at the same time, it's so much. You have to rewatch the episodes because you clearly miss things. But wow, this one was so interesting. And I love the way that this show always builds things up and drops those gems of knowledge as it's building us up to a certain point. You know, in this particular episode, we get some answers finally around this threat that has been looming in the background and more about where he comes from and potentially why he's doing this. We still don't have a full-on why, but we see that he's actually a form of a hybrid that came from Nimrod, who I was not familiar with. Like, I know like the biblical Nimrod, but not the Nimrod in the X-Men universe. And we see that this plan kind of started from Nimrod all the way down and master mold all these things to create this new bio-human. So we see that Bastion is essentially a cyborg is what I would call it. It's a very simplistic way of saying it, but like a very advanced cyborg. And in his mind, he is feeling like mutation needs to be tampered. It needs to be subjugated and brought down to a level that is either completely, if not extinct, then to a number that's easy to control and manage. And that we find out from Cable that in his future, a 300-year war ensues from this, you know, all these cybernetic beings that are now able to be born because of the biological material. They actually are born the same way that Bastion was born, and they're literally predisposed because of their DNA to hunt down and destroy or subjugate mutants. So this happens, you know, these people keep breeding, and we see that eventually there's obviously a clash because mutants understandably do not want to be controlled or completely expunged. And 300 years is crazy to be going through a battle where eventually mutants are all but wiped out, and the ones that do survive have been forced into essentially slavery. Let's call it what it is. And that's it. But they've basically given up, and humanity, as they call it, is now primarily the cybernetic beings and what's left of humans. And I guess humans are still doing well too, because these cybernetic units are not taking out humans. So this is the future that Cable comes from. And he's like, yeah, it's not looking good. Like, basically, we're wiped out. Us as mutants we become the endangered species of the planet. And so we see that Nathan is very brash. I kind of like the whole introduction of Nathan in this episode. He's very angry. He's very angry, very temperamental this whole episode. That stubbornness, that kind of sharpness, the single-minded belief that the way that he's thinking is the only way is very Scott. And but we, you know, I think as an audience, we can somewhat infer that some of it is, as far as Scott's concerned, someone brought out in my comments that he's probably upset about the fact that Scott picked Jean and not Madeline. But, you know, that's a very simplistic way to think of it. But again, I get it. You know, from his point of view, maybe he thought that his dad should have stayed with his mom. But also, he just doesn't know him. And then we found out that even though Bishop had him, you know, carried him when he went into the time stream, they got separated once they got in. So Bishop is ideally, what we think, is back in the timeline that he went to, but we don't know where Nathan ended up. And Nathan ended up far in the future, like much different place than Bishop. So point being, Nathan grew up with no familiar faces. God knows what he went through. And if he was born into the future where mutants were considered to be the enemy, it was not a nice life for him. That's my assumption. So I don't know all of Cyborg's backstory, by the way. In the comments, I knew who he was as a character, but I've not read about his backstory or all the different stories he's had. So anyway, I just know that he's super powerful because of his genetics. But coming back, so yeah, it's understandable that he's got a lot of chips on his shoulders because of the way he was raised, feeling like maybe he was abandoned, and all he had was that memory that Madeline implanted in him before he was sent away. So at least he has that, and it explains why he's a lot softer about Madeline versus everyone else. The vitriol towards Jean, I somewhat get, because in his mind, it's like, you're the dupe, like you remind me of my mom, you look like my mom, but you're not my mom. And maybe he blames her too, like maybe inadvertently thinks you're the reason too why my parents couldn't stay together, is because you were in the picture, even though she's the original, right? So anyway, I thought it was very interesting to see the team dynamics there, or not the team, the family dynamics. And I really like that whole moment with Jean saying that even though this was not her biological son, she knows that, which is so weird because when you think about it, it kind of is her biological son though, because Madeline is her DNA. So it is her son biologically. But anyways, we all know what she means. She's like, I didn't give birth to him. I didn't do all the things that Madeline did to bond with a child, but I feel it all because our memories are shared. We have like a shared consciousness because of our psychic connection and the fact that we literally have the same DNA. So like she said, even though he's not my son and I know that up here, my body, my consciousness feels like I went through all the same things Madeline did. So he is my son for all intents and purposes. And you know, her trying to justify it and put logic around it. And I really like that Kurt is such a great, like, moral and emotional support, especially in the absence of Professor X. I love that for him. But anyway, he kind of lets Madeline know that, you know, being a parent and family has nothing to do with bloodlines. Yes, it's there and it's important, but in the end, family is choice. And it's so true. And he brought out the example of the fact that his mother, Mystique, abandoned him at birth because he looks like a mutant. And that blood connection meant nothing, right? It didn't mean anything in the end. Whereas he's like, Rogue didn't treat me that way, even though we weren't actual siblings. And the people that I've known in my life since then, they've chosen to love me and care for me, even though we don't have a blood connection. So very good line there, a bar about how family is a choice. Even if you are biologically related to somebody, it is a choice to love them and be a parent or be a sibling or be a family member to them. And that's what's really most important. And so I really like that he brought that out. And I think effectively that's when Jean has decided that, you know, Nathan is her son too, in her own way, or at least family to her, even if he's not ready to accept her. And, you know, I think that at some point Cable will probably respond to that as much as Cable can. But anyway, I like seeing their little family hijinks when they went off to go find where they thought Bastion might have a stronghold. And he did. I think he definitely did. I think that underneath his house where he grew up is where he had his first lab where he turned his whole town, most likely. But anyways, they didn't have time to figure that out because they see his mother. And I get it. You know, they show up, they see the family pictures. And because of Charles's training, they go in thinking that this is a person. Like, let's see if we can figure out the story. Maybe we can figure out why this person is this way, and we can reason with Bastion and bring him back around, because that's the Charles way, right? Charles is always trying to find the good in people and exploit that rather than assume that they're bad or punish them right away. But as you saw, I'm not about that. That's not my ministry. After all these years of watching TV shows and reading comics and seeing these kinds of things, I don't trust nobody, particularly the villain's family. I feel like there's always something at home that started this. So I'm like, personally, if it had been me, I would have tried to take her out. But in the end, it's fine, because even if they tried, she would have just turned into the Sentinel anyways, like we saw with Trask. So either way, they were going to be in trouble the second they landed. But I feel like they were way too arrogant too, just going in. It's like, bro, if homie was already anticipating all this stuff, you already figured out before you went there that Bastion was like 10 steps ahead of you, what would make you think you could go to his childhood home and he would not have some fail-safes there? Like, to me, that would be number one. But anyways, I know that they were desperate, and Cable was going to go regardless. He's just looking for like revenge at this point, which is very Scott, by the way. But anyhow, we see that whole situation. His mom gives the whole story about how he was born different. And we see that Jean discovers that Bastion has always had abilities due to, I don't know, I don't want to call it a mutation, but in a way he is a mutant. Not in the way that, you know, that Jean and all them are, but he is his own form of a mutation. But anyways, because of what he had in his DNA, he was able to sense machinery, but he didn't know why. He knew it made him different. His mom, thankfully, was, you know, loving and accepting of him. And that's why he probably has some degree of affinity for humanity for that reason. We get the backstory a bit, at least on the mother-son relationship between Bastion and his mom. And then, of course, they reveal that she is, in fact, a Sentinel, which was clearly something that was set up by Bastion because he knew that the X-Men would show up there at some point. And then we see also that back at the base that Hank is also realizing that by analyzing Trask, that there is probably more of these, human cyborgs out there, these human sentinels that they need to discover. And he figured out a way to, to actually identify how many there might be. And unsurprisingly, that hag that's been reporting on their news from the beginning is one of them. And of course, they did a really good lead up to figuring out that she was definitely one of them. I knew as soon as he started talking about it and she moved the coffee cup, I was like, she's one of them. Of course she is. But yeah, poor Beast. There's not that many people out there who are willing to date or flirt with a big blue ball of fur. He deserves it. People shouldn't discriminate, but let's be real. It's not easy out here. So I can't even be mad at him for wanting to shoot a shot at a girl that was actually giving him some play, And anyway, it's so sad that it turns out that, nope. She was undercover agent all the time. And again, we don't know. I think that part I have to rewatch to see, because we heard the UN lady say that, she was asking whether or not all these people he was converting knew that that's what was happening to them. And he said no, he left out the details. So maybe in fairness, this lady didn't realize she was going to become a human weapon. But the point is she went, right? It sounds like everyone, actually, maybe let me not make that assumption. Maybe not everyone who went there knew what he was going to do, because he doesn't look like he's beyond just taking people and forcing them into this program. But anyways, there is a chance that she knew that he was up to something shady that had to do with mutants. And actually, you know what? I'll take it back, because the way that he's been framing it is saving humanity, protecting humanity, making a better future for everyone. So maybe she went in thinking it was that. And then, of course, before she knew it, this happened. And she, like he said, no one who goes under the procedure remembers what happened to them. So yeah, let me take that back. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she isn't actually evil. But either way, I think Hank's going to be scarred for a while as far as dating. But anyhow, everything kicks off when he's about to alert everybody that there's a lot of these that Bastion's been making. And yeah, everyone goes off at the same time. The chaos ensues, which is nuts when you really think about how crazy it is. And as I said in the episode, Bastion's been studying the X-Men for a while. So unfortunately, it's they don't even understand yet that these robots have been built specifically to counteract their powers. So we see that all of them doing what they're doing, with the exception of Jean. Jean can still manipulate them around, but she can't take them out, I guess, but with what she can do. But we see Scott's beams have no effect. And Beast, bless his heart, he really just has physical strength. And even the adamantium claws on Wolvie, he can shred them up, but they can put themselves back together. So it's not a lasting solution. About the only thing they couldn't really account for, Nightcrawler, because again, we saw Nightcrawler was not an active member of the X-Men, I think, at that time. So they weren't able to anticipate or even begin to figure out where he would appear next. So that was a bit of an advantage. But as we see, that's hard, right? We know that with Nightcrawler, all that teleporting does take a toll on him, so there's only so much he can do. But anyhow, Wolvie, kind of coming through and showing us some badassery in this episode, even though it wasn't necessarily that helpful, but it worked. At least it kept them from taking out Rogue, who is not able to join the party at the moment. But even then, really, Rogue's got super strength and speed, but those are two things we know that the Sentinels can fight against. So yeah, the X-Men are not in a good way, because they don't have things, all their powers have been accounted for, and these battles, I think, taught them that, if nothing else. And then we also saw that Roberto and his parents, we're realizing very quickly that Roberto's mom, she is, last episode I said, okay, it's nice to see that she's not trying to push Roberto away because of his mutation, but the prejudice is definitely still there, and the fear of what people think. And yeah, this is the mindset is very familiar. Just, of any type of marginalized community, that sometimes this is what happens when that truth comes out, is that the acceptance is there, but it's conditional. And that's not true acceptance, right? If you're throwing conditions onto it. So it's sad for Roberto. He's realizing that Jubilee is not standing for it. She's basically look, I don't need your fake platitudes. Let's go. But we see that that's when everything kicks off. And someone in my comments mentioned the fact that Sunspot would actually turn out to be very clutch. Sunspot, aka Roberto, because he wasn't an X-Man, and his powers were hidden up until this point. So we saw that when he was shooting his powers at these machines, it was taking them out instantly. So that's, again, something that Bastion couldn't have accounted for because he's not an X-Man. So thankfully he was practicing, because I was really scared when I saw him floating and grabbing Jubilee. I was like, boy, you're burning people. But thankfully he's been practicing. So we saw that he's able to at least control how his powers work, and he can fly, which is great. So poor Jubilee, right? I think she could probably figure something out with her little sparks, right? Because they're kinetic energy. So anyways, she needs to practice. She needs to be like Game. What was it called? Motendo. She needs to learn how to be Motendo version of herself. I bet that girl can probably fly. But anyhow, so they're over there. We see that that Roberto understandably runs to his mother when he realizes these Sentinels are chasing him. And we see that the Sentinels have been programmed. Bastion put in a programming in them that they don't just go crazy in front of humans, because he needs the humans to think that these Sentinels are a good thing and not come after him, right? Because he doesn't want to. He did a whole speech about how if you oppress someone too long, then sympathy happens. And that's why you can't, you've got to show that the oppressed party is the villain in order to continue the vitriol and continue the oppression. And this, of course, feeds into what happens with these robots, right? Because if they just go after this kid, these two very innocent, young-looking kids, it's not going to look good. So we see that they immediately power down and say, oh, no, we're protecting them, right? And Mom, of course, understands right away about the optics, so she tells him to surrender. And it's sad to me because I feel like in that moment, he could have just left. Quite frankly, he could have grabbed Jubilee and left, but it's his mom, right? He's still not ready to jump into that whole superhero thing just yet. So anyways, we see that unfortunately him and Jubilee have been collared and they had to surrender in that moment. But I just think it's very smart, the idea around this whole optics situation and how they're trying to get the humans to believe that mutants are such a threat that they'll turn a blind eye to all the atrocities that are about to happen to them. And that's so, again, the parallels that this show makes to real life and the way that humans have been conditioned to turn away from when things are very obviously wrong by villainizing the victim. It's over and over again. It's happened time and time again. And I really, really like the way that they showed that with the UN woman, who I was a bit harsh on in the episode, but quite frankly, I stand by it. Like, yeah, maybe she didn't really know that it was going to go to this extreme, but whenever you take the side of somebody who is easily dismissing the pain, the suffering, and the oppression of a certain group, you just to sit there and say, oh, but I didn't think it'd go that far. Like, no, if you take it, even when it's mild, it never stops. If you can turn your eyes away from the mistreatment of one marginalized group because they're very different from you and doesn't affect you now, you can't sit there and get upset and scared when eventually that marginalized group expands to more groups of people that they think deserve to have that treatment, right? That's what's happened historically in humanity. With slavery, we got to use that example because we know that there's a lot of allusions to that in this show. A lot of people back in the day, the reason why it went on for as long as it did is because people who are in the non-oppressed group were like, it doesn't affect me, right? It's not really something that affects me. So I can step back and I can close my eyes and pretend it's not happening because it's not directly affecting me. But then when these people who are in power continue to push that oppression and spread it to other groups because they've been allowed to do it to one group, so why not expand to others? Then they start to understand what the oppressed groups were trying to tell them. And that's what happens every single time. So, as the expression goes, if all of us are not free, none of us are free. That was what was really exemplified in this episode. And so thankfully that UN girl started to realize that, yeah, if it starts here, I really love the way that they used the tattoos that Magneto had on his arm from his time at the concentration camps back to the last time that he was oppressed as a Holocaust survivor. The fact that, again, atrocities were happening to people during that time, and the people there, a lot of the people who were in Germany turned a blind eye because it wasn't affecting them directly, but not understanding that, it started with them, but where would it stop? At what point would it not expand and continue into just more and more terrible things happening to different groups of people in the name of whatever it was that they said they were doing it for? And so I love that when she saw that and then realized, seeing Magneto already gone through the horrificness of society, the horrificness of humanity, and here he is now literally chained up like an animal to this machine, being mistreated again after he extended kindness and mercy to humanity when he didn't have to. That's when it clicked for her finally, like, wow, holy crap. He warned us about this. He told us this. We didn't want to hear it. But here he is, literally a figurative, a symbol of what happens over and over again with humanity. And so thank God she let him go, because he was, and as I said, I couldn't figure out why Bastion had captured him before. And again, I still don't know why he didn't just take Magneto out, because when you think about it, I'm like, he was the ultimate threat to your plan in many ways. But I'm sure there was a reason. My guess is to experiment on him. But anyway, she lets him go. But we see that when she gives her speech later on, because of course Sinister's upset about the fact that she does this, and Bastion comes back and is like, why would you do this? Like, this is silly. And she gives the speech around, like, she's like, yeah, you know, I wasn't surprised. Like when Genosha happened, you notice that no one was surprised, right? Like you notice no one was shocked, and you notice she's like, even being there, she's like, the one thing that came back to me was not like the fear, not the bloodshed, not all these things. Like those were disturbing, but that's not really what haunted me. It was the fact that the one phrase that came into my head and that everyone was thinking and saying was that Magneto was right. He was right about us. We didn't want to believe it, but he was right. And that just, like, you know, it's sad, because that is when you're a part of an oppressed party, or you're someone who's experienced ostracism or oppression, or one of the many horrible things that this world can put you through. This is, you know, Magneto's way of thinking. Of course, in of itself, it's wrong, right? All of humanity is not horrible. However, this cycle of behavior of just humanity doing horrible things to other people in humanity, that part has happened over and over and over again throughout our history. And it's like we never learn our lesson. And that part, you know, Magneto is right about, and it's sad. But again, that part only. I don't agree with the rest of what Magneto is saying, but that part about humanity, sadly, repeating its past mistakes, because there's so many things that just never get remedied or rectified, and thinking that doesn't get addressed. We're doomed to repeat the past if we don't learn from it, basically. And that's what Magneto was trying to bring out. So anyway, great words there, very deep, hard-hitting messages there. And interesting, we didn't get to see Bastion's response to that, but I do wonder if he's going to hear any of that. But my guess is it's a no. He didn't really have time to, because we see that because she released Magneto, who didn't say a word the entire time he was there, he went to, like, basically, I don't know, the North Pole, I guess. My guess is a place that probably, first of all, is far away from the Sentinels as possible, and most people, so there wouldn't be more Sentinels, but also a place that I think would probably amplify his magnetic power. And he just sent out the biggest EMP possible. He's like, let me remind y'all that I'm Omega. And he's like, give me a second. Let me just roll up my sleeves. Actually, he was naked. But anyway, he's like, let me just remind y'all how much power I have. And he thankfully sent out the biggest possible EMP around the world. Like, I need people to understand that he sent that EMP, you see how it just coated the world like some candy shell? Magneto did that. Magneto did that. He could do a lot worse. He could do a lot worse. If that's what he could do, imagine if he decided just, I don't know, throw all of Earth off its axis for a second. Like, he could just be like, to hell with everybody right now. Actually, let me just take everybody out. I can do that. Let me do it. Right? Because honestly, I wouldn't be against it at this point. I would see where he was coming from. He should. But anyway, Magneto shut them down, thankfully, for now, and that gave them the ability to finally get some control back. But yeah, where Magneto's going to go from here, who knows? Because I feel like if Charles even tries to talk to Magneto right now, yeah, I don't think it's going to go well. And I'm going to be on Magneto's side, to be perfectly honest. Because he's hot. No, anyway, then yes, what else? Is that all? Like I said, so much in this episode, so much. Yeah, like I said, we already touched on the Summers family battle. That was great. Their working together was awesome. And then, yeah, we see that Professor X came crashing in quite literally at the last minute. Like, my God, when I say that the Shi'ar literally just sent him, they gave him the most ghetto way to get back, didn't they? They said, since you're going back to the Milky Way ghetto, we're going to send you, literally torpedo your ass right to your house. I mean, the house was already messed up, to be fair, but if it wasn't, he could have taken somebody out. He could have hurt somebody. I feel like it's safe to say his ex was a little upset with the way he chose to leave. But anyway, he literally came crashing down. And he's like, am I too late? And it's like, well, not really totally, but kind of. But anyways, we see that he sent out the call to bring everybody home, and they clearly all got it. And it'll be interesting to see what they have to say. One thing this episode did not clarify is whether or not the X-Men genuinely did know that he was off for treatment, or if this is news to them. But my guess is that they must have known, because they didn't seem too shocked about the fact that he was alive. They were more shocked about the fact that this transmission was being broadcast everywhere. But yes, they were also very worried about that, because they knew that, yes, this meant that Bastion's plan was already in motion, and that humanity was already going to be losing a lot more faith in, you know, mutants and the X-Men, etc., because of this new information. So yeah, Professor X is here. A lot of damage control for him to try to fix. And I don't know what he's going to be able to do at this point, because the damage that Bastion did by that broadcast, and of course, like he said to the UN lady, just getting people to fear mutants again, to kind of pull back the empathy that they were starting to feel for them. I mean, let's be real, a lot of people were already on the borderline of not wanting to do it anyways. But yeah, all of that damage, you know, is going to be a lot to try to repeal if they can at all. And now with these Sentinels not hurting the humans and only hurting the mutants, is that really going to be looked at as a bad thing at this point, right? It's feeling like humanity's got like this hope for not being extinct, right? Because we also heard, sorry, I'm all over the place, but there was so much in this episode. We also heard Bastion saying that I don't know if it's because he's seen it in the future or it's his projections, but he's saying that mutants are supposed to outnumber humans 10-1 in the future, and that eventually humanity would become extinct. I just don't believe that's true. I think that was a projection that he was putting out there to scare humanity, and probably what he needed in order to get them to sign on to let him do what he was doing. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, if humanity hears those numbers, of course, they're going to be behind whatever Bastion says, because they're going to be like, no, we don't want to become extinct. But I don't think that was ever going to happen. But anyhow, lots on the plate for Professor X to even begin to address. We're going to have to see what happens, how the team's going to come together. We've got 2 more parts left. I'm so looking forward to it, because like, yeah, if this was episode 1, it's going to get nuts from here. And I heard that they said that the 3-part, like all 3 of these episodes are going to be insane. So yeah, I don't know what else we can do here. I'm not sure where we're going to go next, but I'm excited for the full team to actually be back together. I'm interested to see where Magneto is going to go from here. If he's going to come back, if he does come back, what his mindset's going to be. Just so many things to take into account here. I'm looking forward to it. This was a really, really good episode, guys. It was really, really, really good, as every episode has been. Such a good show, guys. This is such a good show. Like, the fact that I can dissect and talk for like 20 minutes after a half-hour show, yeah, that lets you know that these guys are nailing it, and I'm loving it a lot. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching with me. I hope you guys also enjoyed my long-ass rant. If you stuck around till the end, thank you so much. Please do show some love if you're feeling it, and I will see you in the next one.